It's early morning, St. Johns County. I'm the philosopher pirate, and this is Florida at large. Folks, I don't know where to begin. I'm in the battle of my life, and before I get too far along, I want to share a phone number with you. You're welcome to share this with other people that know me. Please leave a message first, as I honestly, and this phone only works when I'm on third-party Wi-Fi. The phone number is 305-787-2120. 787-2120 and the great 305 area code. The reason why I'm sharing that number, if you want to text me, reach me, my existing phone is not working properly. I don't have access to my address book. I'm going to do my best to get things working, but it's been one thing after another. I mean, this is the keyboard. Doesn't have a page up, page down, home or end key, and I'm a kind of a keyboard, on the inverted T. But I'm still old school on that. My left hand is doing slightly better. My medical care has ceased. About a couple weeks ago, the medical care places were not being paid by Progressive. So my medical care has been ceased. I have sent a demand letter to Progressive Insurance to pay me and to pay the medical care providers as part of the claim. I did the demand letter myself because I'm not able to find an attorney to represent me because it's a hit and run with regard to the crash. And attorneys really don't want to get involved unless there's someone to sue that they can get, their 40%. Suing my own insurance is just not sweet enough of a deal for them, unless they can prove that Progressive has committed negligence, which, in my mind, they have been negligent because it's been more than 30 days and my claim is still not resolved. Okay, Progressive, I'm sorry to blast you on the internet, but I have no choice at this point. You knew I was stranded. You knew I was in a precarious legal situation. I informed you of all of that the day of the crash, day zero. And you didn't do anything. You treated me terribly. I had to pay for the tow myself. I thought I had towing insurance, but it was only to the nearest, which is somewhere out in the middle of nowhere with no security. So Progressive, you should be ashamed of yourself. I've given you one last chance here. I guess I'm going to have to sue you myself. I'm admittedly, I'm not able to get an attorney without paying for the attorney, and I'm on the verge of bankruptcy, folks. I've told you this before. I was not able to get my internet working well enough. Plus, I'm having banking issues because GoFundMe and GiveSendGo, I need to link bank accounts. And it's not working, folks. To get it linked. And as a matter of fact, because I was trying to get GoFundMe to link to one of my bank accounts, now they've disabled my ATM card. So now I can't even withdraw the money with an ATM. They still are allowing me to go inside and sign, but because of the suspicious nature, well, unfortunately, the closest branch of my own bank is a 3-hour drive. So I basically have to take a long bus trip or get someone to give me a ride, because obviously it's not Ubering distance, so I can withdraw the funds. But in any case, please, if you'd like to donate, buy me a cup of coffee, and I'm going to place the link again in the comments with this video, and in the description is the best way to help me. It's very easy. A cup of coffee is $5. It's a virtual cup of coffee. You can buy 10 cups of coffee. You essentially make a $50 donation to myself if you want to help. If you can't help, I understand. I get it. I'm probably losing all of my storage. Everything, my personal belongings, I'm probably losing $80,000+ that are in my storage unit. I know I am. I don't want to say specifically why I know, but there is something of high value contained in 2 of those storage units, but I don't know which two of the three that it's in specifically because of how many times I was forced to move. I was evicted twice when the swatting event happened because I continued to object and fight the swatting issue, and then I was retaliated against. Now, I can't prove that it was specific to the law enforcement agency or it was the attorney that I stopped from becoming a judge. I can't because no one will investigate. I'm just going to say his name. Dennis Ward, the state attorney, has basically refused to prosecute. He's refused to move. I have an active complaint with the Florida Commission on Ethics. I've contacted Governor DeSantis' office. I've contacted Attorney General James Uthmeyers. That's the correct way to say his name, by the way, folks. I see reporters at Fox News and OAN and CNN and all these, partisan news agencies. Can't even say the gentleman's name correctly. Well, all I have to do is listen to one of his own videos, touting his own horn, Mr. Uthmeyer, and you'll hear him say his name as he wishes it to be said. But getting back to myself, you can contact me if you have questions. Media, you want my story? It's a good story. I'm writing a book. You need to advance me a bunch of money. And I'll give you an exclusive. And I'll give you the tortured details. But I need to be able to pay my bills and have a foreseeable future if you want my story. So please stop contacting me and expect me to share details about corruption in South Florida and the Florida Keys, which I have. I'm not going to give it to you for free. I'm in trouble. Can't you see? I'm on the verge of filing bankruptcy. I was going to flash my voluntary petition for bankruptcy in front of the camera here, but honestly, I don't, the drama, and I don't know if you're going to read it or not. The point is that I do need assistance. And currently the latest, I've been parking on different places in private property. And unfortunately, I just received a notice through a third party that someone had filed a complaint with the local government entity, basically complaining about where I'm parked. So I may have to move again. Okay, this is what's happening. Now, I'm not parking places, folks, where I'm easy to find. I am parking in very difficult places, intentionally hidden, and yet they're finding me. So obviously, my phone that only works on a third-party Wi-Fi is obviously still being tracked somehow, or they're tracking, I don't know, IP addresses I'm using on borrowed mobile internet. I don't know how I'm being found, but I am being found. It may be this Ford vehicle. I'm keeping the batteries charged because if I don't keep the batteries charged, unfortunately, Ford, you suck. I can't lock the doors. It's impossible to lock the doors in this particular vehicle if there's no battery. The other thing that happens is when the battery's down to about 10% of charge, the alarm just spontaneously sounds, whether the key's in the ignition or not, whether the alarm is set, it just starts sounding. So if I'm parked in a neighborhood or somewhere else where I have permission, it's quite the nuisance. So what I do is I keep the battery charged. Solar panels are pretty much constantly deployed. So the solar panels on the windshield, make it apparent, that, I guess it's me. But how am I being found? And now, folks, I have no criminal record. I don't even have a parking ticket. Okay. I don't have a traffic violation since 1994, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. I think that's where I'm at. Might be 93. Okay. And I fought that traffic violation and it was adjudicated. Okay. Because it was invalid. I don't want to go back into that story. If those of you who know me, you've heard that story over a cup of coffee or a couple drinks. Okay. But again, the phone number is 305 787-2120. That's a voice over IP, free phone, only works on third party. So leave me a voicemail, send me a text. I will likely receive it. And I don't know about the text messages, so leave a voicemail. I definitely receive those. When I'm on a third party Wi-Fi, using Walmart or Home Depot or whatever, wherever I can get a ride to, because I'm still immobile. progressive has been jacking me around. Okay, now I granted this is a hit and run. Okay, there was another vehicle that struck the dog first, and then I struck it, and then they left the scene. Okay, so there are other culpable parties. I didn't cause the crash. It wasn't just an act of God. Okay, well, I guess it could be considered. I don't know. I don't know how the law looks at all the nuances of that. I just need progressive to pay my claim, and so I can get back on the road. In the meantime, folks, I have been mailing letters, old-fashioned paper letters, because I don't really have email, and I don't want to send things via email because, according to what I understand, and I could be mistaken, I'm not a legal expert, but that it immediately becomes public record. I don't want everything to immediately become a public record, so I'm sending it old-fashioned mail. And that way, maybe I can settle with these folks, and it doesn't have to become a big blown-up thing. So I'm using that to more protect them than me. I don't really care if everybody knows about my life after this is all over with. I'm protecting individuals that are contained within this whole mess, that are not really, they're more witnesses than anything else, and I don't want their names all over everything. Okay, and some of you may have received letters from me. I apologize if it offends you or whatever, but at this point, I can't protect people any longer. I'm losing everything. I've appealed and appealed and appealed for help. And, I'm also trying to find work, but nobody's hiring somebody my age. They're not. No matter how good I am. And if you look, Microsoft's laying off. Everybody's laying off. I'm a tech guy. I'm also trying to get into investigative reporting. I've been doing that for a while. I had a few assignments. Unfortunately, though, AI has taken all that. An H-1B visa. And I'm not against people from the Indian province, but they're taking all the jobs. And, I don't care what your politics are. It's just real. They're taking jobs from American, U.S. born, naturalized citizen, U.S. workers like myself. It's happening. Doesn't matter what your politics are. It's happening. It's real. Okay. AI, artificial intelligence. I chat with it when I'm on someone's third-party Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's advancing so friggin' quickly. It's scary. Okay. And, but it's just what it is. Is it going to take us over? Not at this point. We can always pull the plug. I even asked an AI recently, one of them. I asked, what's the best way to stop you if you started getting too powerful? And it told me, pull the plug. That was actually, and it did it in a metaphoric way, that I have to shut down the power servicing the server farm. But getting back to myself, folks, I'm in serious trouble. The Buy Me a Coffee is the best way to donate. I have hesitated with the GoFundMe to give Send Go because I don't have a bank account to send the funds to. And when I was trying to get it on my own bank account, they disabled my ATM card. So I can't even go to any ATM and withdraw funds. I have to travel because the bank, I don't want to say the name of the bank because I don't want to get my bank account completely cut off. Okay? So I'm not going to say the name of the bank, but they do not have a presence where I am currently located. Let's just put it that way. I may furnish a mailing address in the comments. I hesitate to do that at this point. If someone wanted to mail me a check, but I would rather them not at this point. Okay. Let's just say if you want to make a donation, please donate to the Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link in the comments and there's a link in the description of this video, and I will make it prominent. I'll put it at the top. I usually don't put it at the top because I don't want to violate YouTube's terms of service or whatever. I'm basically, in a mess. I may have to move again. But that's just the way it is, folks. Apparently I'm being harassed and it's continuing. They don't like what I'm saying. They don't like the letters. They're going to senators, representatives, speakers of the House, president of the Florida Senate, Mr. Albrighton, the Honorable Albrighton, I guess would be more correct. I'm sending letters to judges. Folks, I'm probably pissing a lot of folks off. But you know what? I really don't care. I'm on the verge of bankruptcy. Why should I care about anyone else? Other than those that have been kind enough to witness for me or to help me financially. Otherwise, really, folks, I have worked hard all my life. I have stayed on the correct side of the law. I have not broken the law. I don't have a parking ticket. I don't even have a traffic ticket. Okay, I have completely clean record, and yet, because I stopped someone from their political ambition of becoming a judge, my life was turned upside down. I did the right thing as a citizen. Well, what I thought was the right thing, but that's why I am where I am today, to put it simply. I'm not going to go into the whole details of the case. That's going to be part of my book, and right now it's part of a big legal entanglement. But like I said, someone just complained to a local government about where I'm parked. Okay? And, implying that I'm in some type of land use zoning violation. It's getting ugly, folks. Really getting ugly when you can't park a vehicle on private property. And by the way, the vehicle is operable, but unfortunately it's missing lights, which makes it legal on a roadway. And, it's not totally legal on the roadway. It does have headlights and the signals work. I don't know. Maybe fog lights aren't considered necessary, or driving lights and so forth. Those are damaged. The radiator leaks. So there's very limited travel. But I've owned vehicles before where I had to put water in them every day. I don't want to risk damaging the engine of this vehicle. And realistically, I could probably drive 20 miles. Okay? I don't want to exaggerate the situation. The vehicle can move under its own power, but no great distances. And by the way, if Progressive is listening, I'm not running the engine. Every time I move it, I am privately towed. Okay? So the engine has not run since the day I turned the key, because I don't want to be accused of damaging it further. I'm leaving it in a pristine state until they fix it. And otherwise, another thing is, I don't want to drive it, because if I drive it, there could be further damage. And they'll say, well, when did that damage occur? Was it part of the same incident? Then I'm paying 2 deductibles instead of 1. Okay, as far as I understand it. So let's make that, I want to make that straight. But the vehicle is operable, because this recent complaint basically stated that the vehicle was not operable. It is operable. It's just not practically operable, and the repairs have not been completed. And legally and insurance-wise, it behooves me not to move it until it is actually repaired, and move it under its own power. I mean, putting it on a trailer and transporting it to another location, that's not really going to further influence the vehicle. Pain in the neck. Progressive, get off your ass and fix the vehicle. You know who I am. Okay, and the folks watching this video, you know how I am. Progressive has the same phone number you have. They've had it for a few weeks now. I'm releasing that number to the general public now. And please, you can reach me 305-787-2120. Okay, that's 787-2120, the great 305. As it's in the rap songs, which I don't listen to. Nothing against it. It's just not for me. I haven't listened to any music probably in weeks, folks. I've been focusing completely on sending demand letters and request letters and transmittal letters and all these legal terms that I'm having to learn it all because I can't find an attorney. I have contacted through social media, folks, and I don't want to give away my other social media accounts, but they're not under the same name. They're not under Philosopher Pirate. Please don't search for them. And please don't impersonate me and create accounts that say you're the Philosopher Pirate. They're not me, folks. I only have the Philosopher Pirate with YouTube. Okay, I didn't bother creating Instagram accounts and all of that. I didn't do it. Okay, so Florida at large, this is me. Those are not me. See them? I'll let you know if one of them is me. But if you want to, please don't impersonate me and complicate this legal situation, because I will come after you. I will sue you. I will sue you. And I'll do it. I'll do it pro se if I have to. Hey, Donald Trump just sued the Wall Street Journal pro se. What's that all about? Anyways, I'm sorry, President Donald Trump. I want to be respectful. It's a crazy world, folks, and I am hoping that I have a future, because at this point, I'm beginning to wonder that I don't have one at all. If I don't receive justice, folks, and no one's hiring me, what am I supposed to do? I guess I should just try to go on disability and live off the system and squalor. Is that the answer to someone that's highly intelligent that no one will hire because I have a torturous background that was created by folks? I didn't create this litigious background; they did. I made a deal way back, and then someone reneged on the deal. I didn't mispronounce it, reneged, by the way. Reneged on the deal. And then I had an attorney do some unlawful stuff. And during that whole process, I filed a complaint because I discovered unethical activity beyond myself. It wasn't just my case. It was other cases. All I had to do was make a few phone calls. While I was trying to acquire an attorney, I discovered most of this information about this individual. It wasn't from walking down the street. It wasn't from talking to, some registered sex offender under a bridge who this guy helped prosecute, perhaps. No. This happened by talking to attorneys, told me how much of a dirtbag this fellow was, and there you go. Okay? Matter of fact, his nickname was the public pretender instead of the public defender. What does that tell you, folks? Okay, that's his nickname from other attorneys. Okay, then I stop him from becoming a judge, his judicial ambitions thwarted by myself, and then all of a sudden, I am swatted, nearly killed, attempted murder. Still nothing, folks. Still no prosecution. Still no restitution. Still nothing. I'm going to sound like Johnny Cochran. Rest in peace. I am going to end this here. I mainly just wanted to give you the phone number, let you know how you can help me. And if there's attorneys out there watching this, if you are licensed to practice in Florida and you are a civil rights attorney, I plan on taking this to the federal courts myself. And I'm going to try, folks. If I blow it, I blow it. But I'm going to take it to court regardless. If I have to do it myself or if I have the assistance of an attorney, I am going to push this matter hard and fast. And I will not, I made it a life quest. I will push and keep pushing. I cannot believe what's happening. And I've done something very interesting with regard to the Florida legislature, and I will make that known in my next video. I've gone on long enough with this one. So I'm going to end it there and let you know it's early morning, St. Johns County. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large.